Welcome to Newsclick. Today we have with us Professor Vijay Prashad from Trinity College, New Jersey. Vijay, good to have you with us.
Thanks a lot.
Things in Libya seem to have become stalemated. Do you see that there is a possibility of a regime change that is likely to take place soon, or do you see this as a much longer time frame stalemate?
It's very hard to say that accurately, and for the following reason. Over the last about 48 hours, NATO has upped its airstrikes now in Tripoli, and about 20 NATO airstrikes took place just yesterday. So the pressure by NATO on Tripoli itself has increased, which is why I'm not sure what kind of time frame we're looking at as far as Gaddafi's regime is concerned. In particular, keep in mind that in the northern hills, in the Nafusa mountains, near Misurata and places like that, it appears that the rebellion has gained some momentum. Once again, largely because of intensified NATO bombardment. So it's very hard to put a time frame on this at this point.
Even if Gaddafi goes, do you think that they're in a position to handle the subsequent occupation? Because in Iraq, the problem was not so much defeat of Saddam, but really the occupation later on.
Well, yes, indeed. This can be compared to two different scenarios. One is Iraq and the other is Kosovo. What NATO is following here is, in a sense, what you might consider the Kosovo model, which had three different aspects. The first aspect was aerial bombardment of, you may remember, not only Kosovo, but also Sarajevo and Serbia. So the first aspect is aerial bombardment. The second aspect is support to a regime in a breakaway province. In Kosovo, they declared that Kosovo had become, independent of Yugoslavia. In this case, there's already incredible diplomatic pressure to recognize the transitional regime in Benghazi. In fact, Catherine Ashton of the European Union has set up an office in Benghazi, and just yesterday, Jeffrey Feitman, the most senior member of the US State Department, visited the Transitional Council. So the second aspect of the Kosovo model is to declare independence for another region. The third aspect of the Kosovo model is to go to the International Criminal Court and to establish a dossier on the person that you wish to remove. In the case of Kosovo, it was Slobodan Milosevic. In the case of Libya, it is Gaddafi, his son Saif al-Islam, and the head of his, basically military apparatus, al-Sanusi. So the issue here is the West is basically supporting a kind of Kosovo model, not considering very much the Iraq problem, which is the second approach, where there is a simple military campaign and then the problem is how to construct an occupation. They are following the Kosovo model. It seems that they believe, very much as they believed in Iraq, that once Gaddafi falls, the Transitional Council in Benghazi will be welcomed in Tripoli with flowers and perfume.
Well, that's almost a similar kind of imagination they had regarding Iraq occupation as well, and it's also very clear.
Oh, it's precisely the same thing. Here they are hoping, in fact, that what's been happening over the last maybe week or so is from the West, delegates have been arriving in Benghazi and taking their place on the council. So there has been a concerted attempt to make the Transitional Council in Benghazi a national council. So from Misurata, from Al-Zintan, even from Tripoli, they have brought people in and they are making it some kind of national council. Of course, what is less spoken about is the agenda of those who are running the council. They are not prepared actually to give themselves over to the more revolutionary urges of some sections. They are extremely similar to people like Ahmad Chalabi, who was supposed to be the man parachuted into Baghdad in 2003 to take over a neoliberal Iraq. In the same way, people like Mahmoud Jibril are to be parachuted into Tripoli and to continue his work, which he has been doing anyway over the last 15 years, for creating a neoliberal Libya.
So the situation in Libya is still that even if Gaddafi goes, the aftermath is not going to be easy, particularly with a transitional government which is quite divided in its basic objectives or ideologies.
Well, that's quite correct. In fact, in Benghazi, there is a great deal of disagreement among the political forces and certainly even among the military forces. So it's no secret that the rebels are now beginning to send out different kinds of messages. Some calling for increased bombardment and arms delivery, and others wanting to fight this battle on their own. So, yes, there is disunity in Benghazi. But secondly, you're quite correct that if Tripoli falls, Tripoli may fall, but there is a very large section that remains committed to Gaddafi and to a different idea of Libya. And they are going to go underground in the same way as the Baathists went underground in 2004 and conducted an insurgency until 2007 when they were able to resurface as political actors. So there is a kind of, I think, very dangerous belief being propagated by the Europeans and the Americans that, there is going to be an easy future for Libya. Actually, much clearer was the man who defected, one of Gaddafi's closest allies, Musa Khusa, who went to the conference on the Libya Contact Group, as it's called, in the Gulf, and he said, I very much worry that Libya is going to become a giant Somalia. In fact, he echoed a sentence, this phrase, which was made by Hillary Clinton, the US Secretary of State, before the UN Resolution 1973. So Clinton had said also then that she worried that Libya would become a giant Somalia. Now Musa Khusa is saying the same thing. But unfortunately, from the capitals of Europe and the United States, there is the spreading of an illusion that once Tripoli falls, Libya will be a peaceful country. The markets will be open, oil will be flowing, and democracy will come. And I think that is a great illusion. Much clearer to the truth is what Hillary Clinton and Musa Khusa said, which is that there is going to be a nasty civil war, a nasty retribution campaign if one side decides to give in.